Welcome to my first Xplane12 tutorial. I'll be showing you how to learn how to fly the ASK21 glider in Xplane12, also available in Xplane11. Now, since I'm a real-life student glider pilot, I will be providing as much tips as possible to learn how to fly this pretty neat aircraft. I'll also be teaching a lot of Aerotow and the actual gliding part once we've disconnected from Cessna that's right over here. Taking the tour into the cockpit, we have our basic avionics and really any glider. We have the stick. We have the trim. I'll explain what that does later. We have the speed brake. Now, apparently in Xplane, this pulling it or retracting it is what gets the glider or the Cessna going. This also acts as a brake when fully deployed in a lot of gliders, and well, when we deploy this on ground when we're landing, it will fully stop the glider, so the deceleration rate is pretty nifty. We have the what's it called tow hitchem over here. This will remove the tow rope and that will allow us to glide, but pressing the spacebar will also do that for you instead of actually having to pull it. Over here, this is how you open the door, and what that is. Here are our basic avionics. We can go ahead and turn them on. You can go ahead and turn the audio on if you want to. So these are pretty basic if you are been flying a lot of general aviation. This is our altimeter and this is our speeds. And this is our acceleration units, and I'm not really sure about these two because they're not in the glider I fly in real life, but I'm not really that familiar with them, and I'm sure they don't really matter that much when flying in Xplane. But you should have a common understanding of what these two do. So this uses kilometers per hour, and in real life I use miles per hour with a lot of gliders. But that's fine, as the green means we're in the OK zone, and the yellow means we're in the you should slow down zone. And the red is the limit, of course. The altimeter is pretty easy to learn how to use. It's like a clock, really. The 0 represents 0 feet, and let's say the small hand is on 0 feet, while the long hand is on 1. That's gonna mean you're at... no. That's gonna mean you're at 100 feet. If the long hand is at 0 and the short hand's on 1, that means you're at 1,000 feet. So it's like a clock if you think about it in clock terms. And for calibrating it to the basic altimeter of this airfield I'm at, Meadow Lake K-Fly, you can calibrate it to the standard 7,000 feet, which is what we need to set it to. This will be 8,000 feet. Actually, no. Gotta set it the other way. This is optimal. Okay. Now that we've set the altimeter for your location, you may set it differently. We can explain what the trim does. The trim is... it's differential in speed. If you're going a different, like changing speeds rapidly, the stick could be harder to use, and by pulling the trim it will allow the stick to be more free in your hand to use. Now this really only applies to real life because there's not, unless you have like a force feedback stick for Xplane, then this is almost unnecessary. Okay, now we can just get going. Well, no, we gotta explain what this does. This string represents kind of the wind. When you're flying in air, if this string is to the side, that means you need to use a certain amount of rudder to get in the middle. All gliders have this. We can go ahead and get going now. We can start by retracting the speed brake. As you can just see, the speed brakes are now retracted, and we're going to start taking off. Now, what we gotta remember is this is a very difficult process to take off in a glider, and it's not going to be as simple as you think. we're gonna have to use a lot of rudder input to be able to stabilize the glider with the tow, also known as the Cessna. So we can start using the glider now to stabilize it before we take off. And I'm going to be speaking very rapidly here, because this is going to be a very difficult process, and it's not going to be something you'll learn in just 1, 2, 3. Remember to use a very small rudder inputs, or else your glider can go into the ground in just a couple of seconds. Okay, as you can see, I'm going to be pointing towards the Cessna a lot, so if you start to lift off, point to the ground so you don't fly above the Cessna, or else that could be very, very bad in real life. Alright, so I just used the wrong rudder input. We got to get back on track with the plane, so use very small rudder inputs. Do not turn the ailerons, that would be bad too. That can go send the glider into the ground too if you do it the wrong way. I would only use it if you start to destabilize the what we call wings level. As you can see, the dash, if I can just pause my simulator real quick, the corners of the dash should line up with the wings of the airplane. Just pause it. Okay, let's explain some stuff real quick. This corner and this corner should be exactly level with this corner of the wing and this other corner of wing on the Cessna. It's very important to be stabilized with the plane, or else you could, in real life, break the tow rope, for example, which just happened at my airfield before. Now I'm going to be very careful. I might destabilize. I did it. I'm going to say it 2 times now. You always got to be sure to use small rudder inputs. It's very important to not use a lot of inputs. You got to be very, very, very delicate with this plane, or else something bad could happen. Glider accidents are very common in real life, actually at my airfield a lot. And people think they know what they're doing, and end up they don't know what they're doing. You gotta be gentle with this aircraft, or else it could just go the way you do not want it to go. Okay, so now we're a little bit stabilized. We're gonna go into a pattern, basically. Let's just start turning. You can tune the settings and the controls for your keyboard to make the AI pilot turn. I forgot where it is, but I'll show at the end of the video. So I'm forcing it to turn with Shift 1, and I'll stop when we're facing the mountains. As you can see, I'm not using a single aileron in this. I'm using full rudder. Full rudder. You can look at the stick too. As you can see, it's just going up and down. Now, I don't know where the rudders are displayed in this, but I'm using my stick's yaw for the rudder since I don't have a pair of my own yet. So just make sure you have some sort of rudder input before you decide to fly a glider in Xplane. Alright, since there's a bit of crosswinds, we're gonna be using a bit of right rudder. As you can see, I'm doing everything correctly because we're in that good speed zone, and the little red string above our dash is right in the middle where we want it to be. It can sometimes turn, but it'll probably redirect itself towards the middle. Our goal for our goal altitude is to basically level with the mountains, or 9,000 to 10,000 feet. Let's get a little more wings level with the plane as we're not really centered. I'm going to be using a bit of aileron because of the crosswinds. And although Aerotow is one of the hardest parts while flying a glider, flying the actual glider by itself without the tow plane is really easy, actually. And Xplane does a really good job of simulating the glider physics that are in real life, of course. But if you want to actually know how to fly a glider well, then you should probably take lessons, or you can get the simulator Condor too. There's a gliding simulator just dedicated towards gliders, and it's very good for a simulation of flying an actual real-life glider. So I totally recommend it if you want to get into this gliding stuff. Okay, and then we're gonna be turning a bit more so we can kind of line up that runway. I completely forgot to do that. Oh, okay, not really that level. We're gonna start to go a bit destabilized. We're gonna save the glider real quick. Okay, wings level. Try to get wings level. Crosswinds are a little too much today. That's okay. We're gonna kind of redirect ourselves towards the airport. Come on, come on. Alright, it's gonna be like that. It's just not my best job, but at least we didn't start to turn the ailerons too much and probably dive to the ground. Okay, I'm gonna get a little more wings level with the aircraft. Okay, there we go. We're on a stabilized flight. We are at 8,000 feet. We have 1,000 more feet to go, and then we can basically disconnect, enter our pattern, and get ready to land. But I'll be going over many maneuvers on how to fly this aircraft, or just how to have fun with this aircraft without putting any harm towards yourself. Alright, I will meet y'all at 9,000 feet. Alright, we're getting close to 9,000 feet, and as you can see, I'm battling with the winds right now, so stabilizing the aircraft wings level with the Cessna is going to be a bit tricky. So I'm going to turn towards the... What am I turning towards? The west. Yes, the west. And that's where we'll be disconnecting the tow. Let's go over our checklist real quick. Altitude, check. To make sure we're stabilized with the tow plane, that's checked. Make sure we've already told them that we're the altitude we are going to be disconnecting at. Check, 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 and I think that's it. And now we just got to get stabilized, and now I'm definitely not. Okay, this is a good. All right. One more thing before we disconnect is we're always going to take a right turn from the tow, so just in case something goes wrong, they will always take a left turn, but it's probably not simulated in Xplane. I'm guessing it's not, but we're just gonna take that right turn anyways. So 3, 2, 1, bye. Okay. Tricky of the winds. Let's recap. Okay, we just completed the right turn that we needed from the tow. And where are they? It looks like they're still flying the same heading, so I was worried about that not working. Okay, now what we should probably discuss is the main gliding rules of flying a glider with no Aerotow. Now 1, maintain the speed, maintain the heading you want to maintain, and most importantly, don't die. Don't do something stupid. Know what you're doing. No, like follow the flight plan you're gonna do. So let's turn towards the south. We're gonna point down a bit so we can maintain a good 100 kilometers. Of course, we should be lined up with the horizon of the ground, but since we're not really maintaining speed, we're gonna dive down a bit. Alright, so let's discuss some basic maneuvers. If we're in a crosswind landing, we're gonna have the aileron turn this way and the rudder turn this way. What this does, it slows down the speed, as you can see, or if you do this in real life, you can hear it basically stopping from all the wind stopping. And this allows you to land in a crosswind landing. Other way. Turn that aileron. Oh, shoot. Did it the wrong way? Okay, I messed up the rudder input. That's okay. Turn this way. While the rudder's turning this way. And there we go. can hear the speed is kind of dying down a bit. And the plane kind of goes sideways, so that allows us to land during a crossing maybe. Alright, I only have 1,000 feet for stalls. Stalls in real life can be extremely dangerous when flying a glider if you don't know what you're doing. So always make sure you have at least 1,500 feet of elevation before you perform a stall. If something goes wrong, you can lose altitude extremely fast, and, well, it could be extremely dangerous. And also, I'm kind of far away from the airport, so I need to get there. So, I will try and glide over to the airport before I lose a ton of altitude. I have enough altitude. So, probably can't do stalls today, but there's plenty of YouTube tutorials on how to do a stall maneuver. And there's also many tutorials on how to do spin stalls, sideways stalls, a bunch of fun ones. Basically, if you want to practice one in Xplane with your glider, you point the stick all the way up, hold it all the way until the nose is basically at 90 degrees or 45 degrees to the ground, and then you can start to level up the plane again. In real life, you'll know if you did it correctly if you feel your stomach starting to drop. And it's a real feeling. It's like going down a roller coaster almost. If I can't make it to the airport, which is a rookie mistake, then I will use slow-mo to get over there. Actually, I really want to show the stall maneuver, so I'll just do that right now. So, here's how to use slow-mo the next plane if you don't know how to use it. Just gonna bring this over here, and wow, we got there. We're already at the airport. Alright, now we can practice one stall. We're just gonna point the stick up, hold it. Okay, that one was kind of bad. Practice one more. Alright, that one was kind of decent, but you get the point. You basically point the stick up and you hold it there. Almost like that. And I'm turning. That's a spiral stall. Alright, we have room to practice a couple more things, and that's going to be hard bank turns, or I like to call it a steep turn. Just going to turn, point stick up as you're turning, and there you go, just like that. Then we're going to turn again, point stick up. You don't want to go too far because that's how you can, well, enter almost a dive, and you don't want to do that unless you're at a good altitude. Just did something. What did I just do? That was the speed brakes lever. Alright, let's enter our pattern. So we're gonna down here. Let me explain how I'm gonna enter this. This little green strip, as you can see, is the runway that we're going to be using. I wouldn't recommend using this on an asphalt runway because, well, in real life that can damage the tires on landing. So that's why green runways, as most people call them, or just dirt runways, are preferable when flying a glider. So for this one we're landing, if you could see that green strip, we're going to take the glider, which is right here, go all the way around, kind of go like this, which is, it's not a downwind, but it's basically entering, called it entering the pattern. Turn right over here, enter the downwind, go on to base, and then final. Alright. So hope that will make sense. We gotta descend a lot too. And once we actually enter the downwind, that's when we should deploy our speed brakes. I'm going to use the rudder a bit to get the turning a bit. More. If I had auto over, this would probably look so much better. Okay. We're just going to deploy them a bit. Yeah, just like that. We don't want to go too fast on final. can be dangerous. Alright, let's talk about designated landing zones. As we don't have little markers telling us where to land, it can be kind of tricky. So we're not going to try and putter. We probably will on accident. But we're going to try to land at least the first 50 or 100 feet of the runway. When flying glider, you don't really want to care about how soft the landing is. You want to care about actually landing and well, not popping a tire or throwing it into the ground. You just want to land. You want to hope to land. You don't want to go too slow in final because that can be bad too. So watch that speed. We're going to descend a bit to maintain that 100 kilometers per hour. Alright. Still in that downwind. We're a little too low. No, actually, no, we're at the right altitude. We're just a little too slow. Yeah, so speed brakes, they can slow down your plane completely, so just make sure you try not to do that. Alright, I'm gonna get a little lower to enter that base nice and fancily. See, the runway is right there. And we're gonna enter the base at around, you see this road right here where my mouse is pointing? That's where we're gonna try to enter the base. Alright, let's give some room. I'm gonna put on just a bit of spoiler. Just a bit, not too much. Okay, and now we're gonna turn. Kind of close up those speed brakes. We'll turn them back on once we're on our final. Go up here. Gonna point the nose down a bit, turn those speed brakes back up, and hopefully I didn't just miss the landing. Oh nope, I didn't. Okay. Alright, turn. Alright, low. I didn't turn too much, but we saved it. So deploy the speed brakes. Deploy. Alright. Finalize that runway. Okay. Alright, nose up a bit. And alright. That's all you have to do. You just have to pull the speed brake in all the way because I will deploy the brakes I talked about earlier. Okay. Let's get to the conclusion. Conclusion time. So, you just learned successfully how to fly a ASK-21 glider in Xplane12. Or you probably haven't, as flying a glider and learning how to fly one is very complicated and it could take tens, hundreds of times to fully learn how to fly one. Of course, I can't say myself as experienced as most glider pilots, as I've only on my 13th lesson in real life. But I can provide as much tips as I possibly can for basic flying, and, well, I can provide the dangers of flying one too, if you're not prepared. And I'm able to show you how to prepare for flying a glider. Now, if there's anything I missed, you can let me know in the comments if you would like to. And I hope this tutorial helped anyone that's trying to learn how to fly a glider with a simple and basic understanding without it being too complicated. And remember to always use small rudder inputs, because you don't want to fall out of the sky.